Yo, welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. Today on the show, we've got Puma doing it big, New Balance Gray Day, a roast for Tom Brady, the week's hottest releases, and of course, we have our Hard Pass. All right. Let's start with some hot takes. So we've got our first look at Skepta's Puma Forever signature sneaker, and its debut colorway takes a page from 2015's Adidas ZX Flux Zeno that had sneakerheads looking for all sorts of ways to make sure their shoes were always within distance of a camera flash. Looks like the early talk about these shoes is that they are reminiscent of the Nike Air Tune Max, which is not to be confused with the Nike Tuned Air Max, aka the Air Max Plus. But what I really want to talk about is Puma working with Skepta on a signature shoe. See, prior to signing with Puma, Skepta worked with Nike on a handful of trainers during the late 2010s. This Puma partnership appears to be on a different level since a signature shoe is involved, so congrats to Skepta and Puma on the partnership. I wonder if they'll drop an Okra colorway too. I'm saying it right? Okra, Puma, Okra. I don't know. Keeping it on the Puma side of things, a TikToker named Jared Muros attended an A$AP Rocky and F1 Puma pop-up. Unfortunately for Jared, they got shut down by Rocky and was teased for being an op because they wore Adidas. Once again, this is your reminder that wearing a different brand to a sponsored event is not a way to show your followers you're too cool or above the hype. It's a way to ruin a relationship with whoever got you in and ensures you'll never be invited to an event again. There's a time to make things about you. This is probably not one of them. Jack Harlow has a New Balance 1906R collab on the way. I forgot that was actually a thing. Moving on. Keeping it in the New Balance side of things, May is New Balance Gray Day month. Yeah, they might want to work on that branding. Anyways, Gray Day was New Balance's equivalent of Nike Air Max Day, where they celebrate the versatile color that most people associate the brand with. But for 2024, New Balance is celebrating Gray Day month. Still weird to say. They have a variety of gray colored releases that include 574s, Fresh Foams, Warped Runners, Kawhis, and even Cocos. So now that we've got Air Max Day, Boost Week, Gray Day month, I'm gonna need Under Armour or Puma or Hoka or Solomon to give us a whole year of something. Candace Parker is the new president of Adidas Women's Hoop after an illustrious career in the WNBA. Hopefully she'll still have time to troll fellow president Shaquille O'Neal on Inside the NBA, assuming it's still around after the NBA figured out its new TV package. While Adidas did make signature shoes and PEs for Parker during her run, she's now part of the group that will help bring in the next generation that could be in line for signature shoes and PEs. A quick glance at the roster, and the name that stands out to me is Aaliyah Boston, last year's WNBA Rookie of the Year. She played for the Indiana Fever, which means a whole lot of eyes are going to be on her thanks to the arrival of Caitlin Clark. I don't know how that team up is going to play out, but I'm guessing Candace and Adidas are already cooking up heat for Boston to rock all season long. Maybe a couple of KB8 retros here, some Fear of Gods there. That'll be a good look for Boston and the brand. Former Nike designer and sneaker closet guest Aaron Cooper, who you might remember from classics like Scottie Pippen's and Kevin Garnett's signature shoe lines, has a new sneaker out with Chinese brand EQLZ or Equalize called the 247, and it might be the most interesting new hooping shoe around, not named the Adidas AE1. Obviously, with a name that's been tied to Nike for so long, fans are going to tie this new sneaker to work from Cooper's past, to which I would say that's fair. Just don't, say something dumb like Kanye really did change the world, or, oh, these new Fear of Gods, because that's just clout vampire stuff, and you probably need to grow up. Tim Cook wore a one-of-one Nike Air Max 1 designed on the new iPad Pro during last week's Apple event. I'm not bitter about Tim or the new iPad or not being invited to an Apple event after decades of trying. No, not at all. Just gonna be over here working and grinding and crying myself to sleep watching them KBHD videos. Someday, Jacques. Someday. Anyway, moving along. A Nike Sabrina 2 is on the way after the Sabrina 1 launched to plenty of fanfare and sales among hoopers. And I gotta say, I've even seen people wear their Sabrina 1s with jeans. I know. The internet acts like it's so bizarre to see people wear basketball shoes with jeans. Yeah, don't tell them you can also wear Jordans with suits, or get married in dunks, or hit super kicks in crispy white Air Force Ones. What is this world coming to? On behalf of the sneaker community, I'd like to apologize to @21LittleCam's mom because her son isn't seeing the big picture. I'm just kidding, of course, but I don't think the kid realizes that if he walks fast enough, some people will think he's wearing Balenciagas, the brand that built their entire sneaker identity around the idea of pumping Asics with steroids. For people who like those mutant sneakers, it's gonna be instant clout for @21LilCam. Hey, Nike Book One, it's okay, you can rest now. With Devin Booker and PJ Tucker both eliminated from the playoffs, you don't have to face the wrath of the internet anymore every time you wear a new colorway of you. And don't worry, they don't actually hate you. You just became a meme that people latched onto for instant likes in the comments section. You're actually a good sneaker that ties into Book's love of classics from the past very well. You even told good stories with the exclusives that you brought onto the court. But my one quibble would be, you should have dropped some of them on sneakers like a LeBron watch. As a first signature shoe, believe me, it could be so much worse. And you also had the misfortune of being slotted alongside a supernova that is the Adidas AE1. Okay, now that I'm done being nice, you do still need to step your game up because the Book 2 can't behind the "it's new" excuse anymore. We need heat that we can buy, less exclusives that are out of reach, and maybe if your guy can, get back to the form that led the Suns to the finals a couple years ago, that would help too. Now, before we get to the pick of the week, a shout out to Nice Kicks for sharing the story of Randy Yim, a sneakerhead who is currently receiving dialysis treatment for his kidney disease. Randy's been sharing his story and his sneakers on social media while undergoing dialysis, which means he's in a clinic 4 hours a day, 3 days a week in a chair while a machine cleans out his blood. Recently, he was approved to be on the kidney transplant list, which means hopefully he won't have to keep going to clinics for the rest of his life. Currently, the waiting list for a non-living donor can take up to 6 years or more. However, if a living donor were somehow to be found, there's no waiting list. Obviously, it's a hugely personal choice that should be taken very seriously, aka don't do this just for clout. But if you are interested in becoming a donor, check out Randy's socials @RandyYim206. All right, our pick of the week is the Skepta and Puma SK Forever. This is a Europe release on May 16th for $215, and the Puma La France Amour on May 17th for $110. Now, we already talked about Skepta's signature shoe with Puma, so no need to go through the same talking points. But another big release on the calendar is the Puma La France Amour. It's a new lifestyle shoe that is team up with LaMelo Ball streetwear band. It's got the early 2000s skate shoe vibes, but with the patent red leather, I'm not so sure this colorway is going to be positioned as a sneaker that you'll wear for a session at the park. Future colorways, maybe, but this one is for LaMelo stands and hypebeasts for sure. So the roast of Tom Brady was this past week, and while we weren't invited to roast Tom, probably because I'm in a happy marriage, didn't lose millions of dollars in crypto, and can still move my face unlike Touchdown Tommy, we did write a bit in honor of the 7-time Super Bowl champ, who didn't sign with San Francisco after he left New England. Nope, I'm not bitter about that at all. Why would you ask that question? That's a terrible question. Anyway, this is our half-ass college try at a roast. Apologies to the actual pros like Kevin Hart and Nikki Glazer. Not so much to Jeff Ross for not having the balls to coax Anthony Jeselnik out of roast retirement. Anyway, here we go. Tom, you've got 7 Super Bowl rings and the title of undisputed NFL GOAT. Well, until Patrick Mahomes gets to 8. You've got the love of stable geniuses like Antonio Brown and our former president, and the admiration of people who park their car at Harvard Park. Thanks to you, we've had to deal with Boston man children like Bill Simmons and Ben Affleck blowing you for over 20 years like Giselle does Kung Fu Joaquin now. And you did it all despite looking like the white boy Rick Ross thinks Drake's is during the combine. And like Drake, you've taken steps to fix that, and you should be applauded for that. I guess they do BBLs on faces too. And that's a good thing because I don't need to see your ass. We're all gonna see it in September when you take over the spot that Greg Olsen earned on Fox. See, that's white quarterback privilege at its best. When you have taken a hardworking, very qualified white tight end's job just by showing up. I mean, watch out, Gronk. Tom's coming for your USAA commercials next. Anyways, you've overcome so much in your career, Tom. Despite not being built like Cam Newton, cerebral like Peyton Manning, gutsy like Drew Brees, you have the career that Aaron Rodgers always wanted. I mean, look at that guy. He goes on ayahuasca benders in a dark room for weeks like he's Batman trying to get out of the hole Bane threw him in just so he can get like you. Do you know how much conspiracy podcast bull UFC press conferences you have to listen to piss away what he had in Green Bay? Ah, well, good things he's immunized against Achilles tears. Anyways, thanks for the memories, Tom. You should have gone to San Francisco instead of Tampa, gotten our coach who thinks he's so damn smart fired, and won ring number 7 for you and number 6 for us. All right, congratulations to Lando Norris on winning the F1 Miami Grand Prix this past week. It was a long time coming for one of the sports rising. What am I saying? He's been a star for a while now that's just had the misfortune of being sandwiched between 2 racing dynasties in Mercedes and Red Bull. But with McLaren showing some good pace and strategy, there might be an opening there to win a few more races and podiums to break up the Red Bull monotony this season. Also, shout out to McLaren's Bianca Bustamante for getting her first podium as an F1 Academy driver this year. That shout out was actually brought to you by co-rider who supports everything Filipino, even the ones he secretly doesn't like in private. And finally, props to James Gunn for making Superman a lazy bum who saves the world at his leisure. Maybe that interpretation will make me interested in what this reboot is gonna be. If not, I'm still holding out for a take on Superman that paints him as an all-American Boy Scout to everybody, but is an incessant troll to Batman. Like, just the meanest jerk ever to Bruce Wayne. Cleans up Gotham City, hires away Alfred, hooks up with Catwoman, reforms Joker, just the pettiest of petty. There's hope yet for Superman, unlike, say, Cyclops, who has 0 redeeming qualities. It's time for this week's Hard Pass, where we take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go. Like people who can't keep the Lakers out of their mouth. No ring having coach George Karl said something stupid this week. You know, I was coming into this thinking I was gonna say F this or screw that, but nah. I'm going to be the bigger person, okay? Here we go. I actually respect George and all of these internet trolls who have spent the last 4 years discrediting the bubble championship. I mean, it must take an inordinate amount of hate in their hearts to continue to waste precious time on this topic. Like, they could be spending that time cheering for their teams, who would have gladly counted that bubble ring if they won it. Instead, they go on social media and congregate with their fellow haters like George to see who's the biggest hater, like their Silky Johnson needed to go home to put some water in Buck Nasty's mama's dish. Talking about the validity of a championship in 2020, in 2024, are the same people who get into arguments about LeBron and MJ, a topic we like to call here at Hard Pass one of the dumbest you can have because it's become nothing more than tribalism bullshit that's ultimately inconsequential to our lives. I mean, the energy to hate on a team and its players that barely knows you exist is something else. And it didn't start with LeBron, which is its own weird-ass vortex of hate. Magic got it, Kareem got it, Shaq got it, the late Kobe Bryant got it, Powell, AD, etc. Hey, hate if you want. Don't mistake this for me telling people how to waste their time. I go on YouTube rabbit holes about DIYing artificial turf in my front yard so I can be as unproductive as the next person. Just don't mistake me for ayahuasca enthusiast Aaron Rodgers. But what I do got time for is couldn't win with talent like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Detlef Shrimp, Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, Big Dog Robinson, Carmelo Anthony, and Allen Iverson hating ass George's take with my 17-time world champion and one-time in-season tournament champion, Los Angeles Lakers, will be more successful when they acknowledge the bubble ring doesn't count. It should be noted that Karl is an internet troll who thrives off the engagement like Doc Rivers thrives off of 2008. But still, I have to ask, what does something that happened 4 years ago have to do with our team moving forward? Okay, say the Lakers go to Adam Silver and declare they will take down the 2020 championship like they're Michigan being forced to forget the Fab Five happened. How does that make the team better? Does George think the franchise walks around with guilt that they won that championship and giving it up would free them of a burden somehow? So if Miami won, would Jimmy Butler be walking around with big face coffee cups saying, hey, sorry about winning this false ring? If Boston had won, would they remain 17-time world champions? If Anthony Davis misses that buzzer beater in the conference finals and Denver goes on a roll, is Nikola Jokic only a one-time champ and one-time finals MVP? George, the Lakers organization moved on from that championship the night they got their rings. You didn't. Our goal is number 18. And if we get it with LeBron and AD, great. If it's a few years from now with players we get in exchange for LeBron and AD, that's okay too. Grow up, George. Oh, and speaking of growing up, after 25 years, the Los Angeles junior varsity basketball team is finally moving out of the house and into their own place. Now, if they had just moved to somewhere far enough that they can't get away with calling themselves LA, then I would call them the Clippers. Like, they could have been the Las Vegas Clippers, the New Seattle Supersonics, the London Clippers, Mexico City, Hong Kong, somewhere, anywhere but LA. But I guess, once you've tasted the LA living, you can't go anywhere else. So enjoy still being the JV squad, Clippers, playing in the heart of Lakers country. Like, what's wrong with being the Santa Barbara Clippers, or the Victorville Clippers, or the Oceanside Clippers? Better yet, the San Diego Clippers. Just go home, Clippers. Step out from our shadow and forge your own identity, aka grow up. All right. That's going to do it for the show. I was a big hater of this show. Anyway, thank you guys for watching Hard Pass. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week. If you'd like to possibly be featured in a future episode, call us at 818-493-9325. Leave us a short message, your socials if you want. No more than 30 seconds. All right. I'll see you next week. Hater out. Peace.